Hello guys, let's start our discussion with the topic of national income. Very important topic. Always there will be a question in the prelims. Even if there is no question in the prelims, the understanding of this concept is very important to understand the other concepts of the economy. This concept of national income forms the base of your economy. Okay, we'll start. So what are the things that we study in this concept of national income? Various indicators of national income, like various indicators like we'll study here GDP, we'll study GNP, then we'll study about the NDP and NNP. So these are the different forms to measure the national income. What is the national income? Just like we have our own income, the country also has its own income. And this income can be measured on different formats, be it a GDP, GNP, NDP, and NNP. We will understand one after another. Then what are the other things that we need to understand under the concept of the national income? Various methods of calculation of national income. Like, what are the methods we use here? Income method, value addition method, and expenditure method. And also, friends, recently after 2015, they have changed the way of calculation of the national income. So we also need to see changes in the procedure of national income calculation. This also we need to have a look. So before understanding this concept, we'll try to understand certain basic things. We'll try to first understand different types of the goods that are existing. The important goods that we need to know are intermediate goods and the final goods. Intermediate goods are those types of the goods which are further used in the process of making some other good. Okay, let's say you have steel. We use the steel for making up of the iron. So this is a type of good which is used in manufacturing or processing up of some other good. Some other good or product. Okay. So example can be your iron that is helpful in the manufacturing of your steel, or steel can be a kind of intermediate good which can be helpful in manufacturing of your cars, something like that. Okay, then final goods we have. In the final goods, we have different types, two types. One is consumer good and other is a capital good. Consumer good means a type of good where it does not go further into the processing stage. It has reached its final stage of the consumption. So when it is purchased, it will be consumed. Like say anything like say your cookies, biscuits, or even your cars, everything. It does not go any kind of processing state. Okay, it can be a car, it can be your laptop, it can be a biscuit or chocolate, anything. It is not going into the further process of manufacturing. It is consumed directly. Okay. What are the capital goods? Capital goods are those man-made goods, which further plays a role in production. Now, what is the difference between the capital and intermediate goods? This intermediate goods, in the process of further production, it gets transformed. Like your iron will get transformed into the steel. Your steel becomes a car. Okay, its traces are no more found, the intermediate goods. But here, the capital good is a kind of machinery, a man-made product. It's a kind of machinery which helps in the production purposes. Like you use different machineries for manufacturing of anything. Maybe you have used machinery for manufacturing of laptops or any kind of cars, automobiles. It could be anything. But most important thing is it itself does not get consumed. It is not consumed in the process in the process of manufacturing. Right? So understood? So you have used a machinery, or you have used a kind of building for production of something else, or it can be a road, railways, all this comes under your capital goods. Okay. A good can be both consumer good and capital good depending upon its usage. Let's say we have taken a laptop. You are using this laptop for teaching some kind of classes, for producing something. Then it becomes a capital good. You have used building for your residence purposes, and you have used same building for commercial purposes. So depending upon your usage, it will become either consumer good or capital good. One more thing is tea bags. You have enough tea bags. You are using it for your household purposes, for self-consumption. Then it considered as a kind of consumer good. आप खुद ले रहे हो, प्रोडक्शन नहीं बन रहा है उसके साथ. बट अगर समझो कि आपने टी बैग इसलिए लिया है कि एक शॉप में आपको टी सेल करना है, then it will become the capital good. Some production is happening. So this capital goods expenditure, we can also say it as a kind of investment. आपने बहुत बार सुना होगा गवर्नमेंट कहती रहती है कि इन्वेस्टमेंट बढ़ाना चाहिए, इन्वेस्टमेंट बढ़ाना चाहिए. What is this investment they are talking about? This investment is nothing but the capital goods. Okay. Now let's discuss other few more things. So how many sectors are there in the economy? So we have said calculation of the national income. So there are, in order to calculate the national income, we are calculating, actually we are looking into the economic activity of the nation. So these economic activities of the nation are coming from the various sectors. So these sectors can be primarily clubbed into the three sectors: primary sector, secondary sector, and the tertiary sector. So what is the primary sector? Where you are using natural resources, where you are using natural resources for economic activity, like say agriculture. It's not only natural resources, but primarily you are using the natural resources. So it is agriculture activity. In the secondary sector, you are using some man-made resources for further processing or manufacture something. All these things comes under the secondary sector, be it a pharmaceutical. It can be your automobile industries. So construction sector. So this thing. Tertiary sectors, all those activities which does not fall in the primary and secondary sector, they can come into the fall into the tertiary sectors. So all those things like say transport, your trade, communication, IT, public administration. So all those services, it will fall into the tertiary sector, service sector. So who is calculating, who is deciding this economic activity? It is the calculation of economic activity is done by the Central Statistical Office. It is under the Ministry of Statistics. There are various ways how, where one activity can fall here. Okay, where one activity can be fall in different ways, like say electricity, mining. Mining will come here. So sometimes it will keep changing depending upon the organization we look into. So this Central Statistical Organization consider this way: primary, secondary, all the economic activities are clubbed into the three different areas. Okay, in order to finally arrive at a national income. How they will arrive at a national income, we will gradually look into. So we are trying to understand different sectors in the economic activity. Then we have seen different types of the goods, okay, in which we have seen intermediate goods and the final goods, and within the final goods we have seen consumer goods and the capital goods. Now we will try to also add one more concept, that is who are the major players in the economy. So we can say it can be first government, then private sector, then we can say household sector, and then we can also say external sector. Okay, so government is playing a role in both consumption and production. So same thing is being done, okay, by private sector and household sector and the external sector. So these are the four major players in the economy. Then we will also see circular economy. We are doing this in order to understand the concept of the national income. So before doing the concept of national income, understanding these basic concepts will help us to clearly understand what we are going to study under the concept of the national income. So let's assume there are only two things. There is one firm and one household. What is household? Basically, household means the people who are living together, who has common consumption pattern. So basically, it is like family, but in the economy where the consumption pattern is similar, where the family living together and having similar consumption pattern, we'll call it as a households. Okay. This economy runs in a different ways. Some people is producing, another people is consuming, the consuming people is also producing. So these there is a complicated structure of economy. This complicated structure of economy is what determines your national income. So we are trying to simplify this thing. So let's assume that there is only one firm and there is only one household. This firm is producing the pizza. Okay, they have produced the pizza, and this pizza is consumed by this household. They have to pay for the pizza, right? Now these guys will pay for the pizza. Okay, so this is the expenditure. Okay, let's assume the pizza cost is 100 rupees. So they have produced the pizza and they have sold it to this household, and they have received this household 100 rupees. Now, in order to produce the pizza, this firm will require certain inputs, and those inputs are called factors of production. Those inputs are called factors of production. Now, what are those factors of production? They can be considered as a land, labor, capital, and the fourth one is the entrepreneurship. लैंड, अब ऐसे मत समझना कि बस ये फिजिकल लैंड है. ओके, लैंड मीन्स नेचुरल रिसोर्स. सो इन ऑर्डर टू प्रोड्यूस समथिंग हियर, मान लो कि पिज्जा प्रोड्यूस करना है, तो व्हाट काइंड ऑफ इनपुट्स चाहिए इन लोग को? तो लैंड मतलब वी आर बेसिकली गिविंग इट इज नेम एज अ लैंड, बट इट इंक्लूड्स नेचुरल रिसोर्सेस. जैसे कि समझो आपका एयर हो गया, वाटर हो गया, एनीथिंग अबव बिलो द लैंड. So soil ho gaya. So all those natural resources comes under the aspect of the land. Labor, nothing but the human resource. Capital ho gaya. Capital, it can be your investment. It can also be any kind of machinery which we have discussed under the capital goods. All those things comes under the capital. Entrepreneurship means it's a kind of ability, a risk taking ability that we consider as a kind of. Now, these households, let's assume that they are providing to this firm these factors of production, these four services. Now, in return, this firm has to give certain kinds of payment, that is called factors of payment. So in what way do we get the factors of payment? For the land, we will get rent. For the labor, that is the human resources, we get the wages. Now for the capital, we will get a return for the capital, that is the interest. And for the entrepreneurship, you will receive the profit. So this is what they will pay to get these things. Now here itself, you can also understand methods of calculation of the national income. See this thing, this is a kind of expenditure method, and this is a kind of income method. So it just gives a brief idea. It is not, we have to still get into the details. I have not gone into the details, but just it is giving you some kind of idea. So here now see, if you simply calculate, see the simplified form, the pizza is being produced. If you want to calculate the national income, you can simply calculate the income that is being consumed. Okay, now that is being cost in order to produce the pizza. Okay, पिज्जा प्रोड्यूस करने के लिए ये हाउस होल्ड को जो भी सर्विसेज ऑफर किया है ये फर्म को, उसके लिए रिटर्न में पेमेंट मिलेगा। अगर उसको आप क्लब करोगे तो आपका इनकम आ जाएगा। तो उसी इनकम को आप नेशनल इनकम नाम से बोल सकते हैं। या फिर ये हाउस होल्ड ने जो भी एक्सपेंडिचर किया है टू परचेज दिस पिज्जा, उसके थ्रू भी आप नेशनल इनकम को कैलकुलेट कर सकते हो। दैट इज अगेन 100 रुपीज। सो मोर और लेस इन वॉट एवर वे यू कैलकुलेट नेशनल इनकम ऑलवेज is same, whether you calculate income method, whether you calculate expenditure method, whether you calculate the value addition method. थोड़ा बहुत differences होते हैं when we consider circular economy, not circular economy in the simplified format, but if we take in a complicated format, यहाँ पर समझो कि गवर्नमेंट भी आ गया, गवर्नमेंट टैक्स करता है, मल्टीपल फर्म्स आ गए, या फिर एक्सटर्नल सेक्टर भी आ गया। You are not just a closed economy, you are also interacting with the outside world, then things become complicated. And you are also having multiple sectors, like we have seen primary sector, secondary sector, and the tertiary sector, and not just one player, you have the 4 players in the economy. So the your national income becomes complicated. So we will see how things add from here. Now national income. So पहला मेथड, पहले आप समझ गए होंगे कि नेशनल इनकम हम क्यों मेजर कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि प्रोग्रेस चेक करना है हर एक कंट्री का। ऐसा नहीं है कि बस ऐसे चल रहा है कंट्री, नो, we need to see what is the progression that is happening within the country. So we check in terms of क्वांटिटेटिव एस्पेक्ट्स, मतलब कोई वैल्यू में, मॉनिटरी वैल्यूज में हम चेक करेंगे। जैसे कि समझो आप कोई एक राइस प्रोड्यूस किया, या फिर कार प्रोड्यूस किया, या फिर कोई ट्रांसपोर्ट सर्विस प्रोवाइड किया, तो फाइंड आउट करना प्रोग्रेशन डिफिकल्ट हो सकता है। तो इन सब का इक्विवेलेंट मॉनिटरी वैल्यू हम कैलकुलेट करेंगे और उसको एक वैल्यू देंगे। जैसे कि समझो कि 1000 रुपीज बन गया है, इन सब गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज का फाइनल मॉनिटरी वैल्यू एग्रीगेशन 1000 रुपीज बन गया। तो समझो नेक्स्ट ईयर 2000 बनो या 500 बन गया, तो वी आर हैविंग एन आइडिया वेदर कंट्री इज प्रोग्रेसिंग or not, it is going backward. So national income is very important for us. This quantitative aspect is very important for us to understand in an easy format, in by giving us some kind of monetary value. हम अच्छे से आराम से समझ सकेंगे। क्योंकि बट इज दिस गुड इनफ? नहीं, क्वालिटेटिव एस्पेक्ट्स भी इंपॉर्टेंट होते हैं। दैट्स द रीजन we also come across gross happiness index, and we also come across HDI, we also come across multi-dimensional poverty index. So we will see these things later on, but पहले हमें quantitative aspect समझना है। तो अब एक quantitative aspect समझने में, like we have seen, we know GDP, GNP, NDP and the NNP। पहले उनका definition समझते हैं, then things will become easy for us to understand. So what is GNP? So जैसे कि आप नेशनल इनकम कैलकुलेट करना है, यू कैन गो विद वेरियस फॉर्म्स। जीएनपी ले सकते हैं, मेजरली बाकी सारे कंट्रीज सब जीएनपी यूज करते हैं, हम जीडीपी यूज करते हैं। वी विल सी द डिफरेंसेस, जीएनपी क्या होता है, जीडीपी क्या होता है, हम देखेंगे आगे चल के। पहले समझो कि जीएनपी क्या होता है। ओके, so we are calculating quantitatively in terms of the money value. So GNP is nothing but final money value of all the goods and services produced by residents of the country, by residents of the country. जीडीपी क्या होता है? सेम, फाइनल मॉनेटरी वैल्यू ऑफ ऑल गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज प्रोड्यूस्ड विद इन द डोमेस्टिक टेरिटरी। विद इन द डोमेस्टिक टेरिटरी। डिफरेंस देख सकते हो कि यहाँ पर कौन प्रोड्यूस कर रहा है, इट इज द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ हु, हियर इट इज द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ वेयर। सो दैट्स हाउ जीडीपी एंड जीएनपी विल डिफर। और हम सीखते हैं इसके बारे में कि अब हमें यहाँ पर देखना है कि व्हाट इज दिस फाइनल मॉनेटरी वैल्यू, एंड देन वी हैव टू सी व्हाट इज दिस कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ द रेसिडेंट्स। या तो वी हैव सीन कि गुड्स में इंटरमीडिएट गुड्स होता है और फाइनल गुड्स होता है। सो वी आर एक्चुअली कैलकुलेटिंग मनी वैल्यू ऑफ द फाइनल गुड्स। ओके, हमने डिफरेंट थ्री सेक्टर्स देख लिया है, डिफरेंट थ्री सेक्टर्स देख लिया है। जैसे कि समझो एग्रीकल्चर, एग्रीकल्चर में आप बहुत सारे लाइक आप फूड प्रोडक्ट्स लाए हो, ओके, ऑयल सीड्स, ओके, अलाइड एग्रीकल्चर भी लाए हो, और समझते हैं कि इनका मॉनिटरी वैल्यू सबको एग्रीगेट करके 1000 रुपीज आपको बन गया है। देन वी विल ऑल्सो सी द सेकेंडरी सेक्टर, यहाँ पर आपको एक 1000 रुपीज बन गया है, एंड टर्शियरी सेक्टर यहाँ पर आपको 1000 रुपीज बन गया है। सो इन सब का एग्रीगेट समेशन विल कॉल इट एज ए 3000 रुपीज, एंड दिस बिकम्स योर नेशनल इनकम। बट इसमें से थोड़ा सा वेरिएशन होता है कि ये जब हम जीएनपी कैलकुलेट करेंगे तो वी विल सी हु इज एक्चुअली प्रोड्यूसिंग इट। अगर ये आपके रेसिडेंस है तो उसको आप जीएनपी में डालो, अगर ये आपके रेसिडेंस नहीं है जो प्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं तो आप आपके जीएनपी से इनको हटा दो। ठीक है, तो यही सिंपल सा कॉन्सेप्ट है। अगर जीडीपी है, अगर ये आप सब आपके टेरिटरी में प्रोड्यूस हो रहा है, विच टेरिटरी, द पॉलिटिकल बाउंड्री, तो आप इनको जीडीपी में डाल दो। तो बस इतना सा ही सिंपल सा कॉन्सेप्ट है। बट हियर वी आर इंक्लूडिंग द फाइनल गुड्स बट नॉट द इंटरमीडिएट गुड्स। ऐसे क्यों? बिकॉज समझो कि आपने आयरन यूज किया है, नाउ दिस आयरन को आपने कैलकुलेट किया है, समझो कि 50 रुपीज बना है आयरन, और आपने फाइनली इसको लेके सम स्टील यूज बनाए, सो सम वैल्यू एडिशन बन के स्टील बन के देन या फिर कार बन गया है। कार समझो कि जस्ट हम सिंप्लीफाइंग द वैल्यूज, समझो कि 100 रुपीज का कार बन गया है। अब आयरन को आपने ऑलरेडी काउंट किया है इंटरमीडिएट गुड में, सो व्हाट इज द यूज योर एड योर एनीवे दिस आयरन को आप इसी में इंक्लूड कर रहे हो ना, तो इट विल लीड टू द डबल काउंटिंग। तो वी डोंट कंसिडर द इंटरमीडिएट गुड, वी ओनली कंसिडर द फाइनल गुड। तो हमें जीडीपी ओवर एस्टिमेशन नहीं होना चाहिए। सो वी विल इग्नोर द इंटरमीडिएट गुड बिकॉज दिस इंटरमीडिएट गुड इज एनीवे used in production of the final good. That's why I have discussed this concept of the final goods in the beginning itself. Okay, so now who are the residents? Because this is what we study under the concept of the gross national product. यहाँ पर वो चीजों को हम नेशनल इनकम में कंसिडर करेंगे that are being produced by the residents. Now residents are those people whose economic interest lies in the country. It is not citizen or non-citizen concept. It is based on the economic interest. Now ये economic interest को कैसे determine करोगे आप? It is based on UN methodology. अगर आप एक साल से भी ज्यादा एक कंट्री में रहोगे तो यू आर कंसिडर ए रेसिडेंट ऑफ दैट नेशन। समझो कि कोई यूएसए सिटीजन, he is working in India for more than 1 year. We have taken this some kind of benchmark of 1 year. Okay, if you are working in India, if you are a US citizen and that US citizen is working in India for more than 1 year, then you become automatically resident. Okay, he may not be the citizen of India, but he is a resident of India. Let's समझो कि Indian citizen is working in USA for more than 1 year, then he is a citizen of India, but he is not the resident of India because his prime economic activity or prime economic interest lies in the USA. Now, whatever the production that is being done by these residents of India is considered under the GNP. Hope this is clear. So this 1 year activity is very important for us to understand the concept of the national income. Then और कौन सा होगा रेसिडेंट? we have just spoken about only individuals. There can also be the companies. अगर कंपनी इंडिया में रजिस्टर हुई है, registered in India, okay, then it will become, okay, that institution will become a legal entity. Okay, whoever is the owner of that company, they will actually pay taxes to that country, India. Okay, it is depending again on the registration process. जैसे कि समझो इन्फोसिस है, इन्फोसिस, okay, it is doing major economic activity in India because as per the Indian law system, okay, यहाँ पर एक कंपनी एक रजिस्टर हुआ है कंपनीज एक्ट के थ्रू, okay, this will also become part of the Indian residency. अगर यही इन्फोसिस समझो कि कोई यूएसए और यूके में ऑपरेट कर रहा है बट एज ए सेपरेट लीगल एंटिटी, एज ए ब्रांच ऑपरेट कर रहा है, ओके, देन इट विल बिकम ए पार्ट ऑफ इंडिया ओनली, जीएनपी में हम इंडिया में इंक्लूड करेंगे इसे. अगर एज ए सेपरेट लीगल एंटिटी बन गया है, इसके फाइनेंसेस डिफरेंट है, नया सब्सिडरी यूनिट खोल लिया है, न्यू लीगल एंटिटी, then it will become part of either USA or UK. So in this way, we will check whether whatever the economic activity it is falling, it is considered as a residential status or non-residential status. Based on that, we calculate our national income. Okay. Now GDP. GDP में हम ये सब नहीं देखेंगे. अगर हमारे पॉलिटिकल बाउंड्रीज में जो भी प्रोडक्शन हो रहा है, इट ऑल कम्स अंडर द कैलकुलेट अंडर अवर नेशनल इनकम ओनली. कोई भी कुछ भी चीज आप प्रोड्यूस कर लो विद इन अवर पॉलिटिकल बाउंड्रीज, टेरिटोरियल वाटर्स, and also our Indian embassies that are outside our country. कोई दूसरे एरिया में आपने जाके यूएसए में जाके आपने एम्बेसी ओपन कर ली है, तो उस एरिया में जो भी आपको एक्टिविटी है या फिर कोई भी सैलरीज मिलेंगे अपने अपने इंडियंस को, that will be again calculated as a part of the GDP. So embassies, consulates, our Indian consulates that is there outside India. So even these things comes under the part of the GDP. So simple things, national income में क्या क्या है? One is GDP, final monetary value of all goods and services produced within the domestic territory. Within domestic territory. GNP में क्या आ रहा है? Monetary value of all goods and services by the residents. Concept of residents. Now, कौन है residents? It is the citizen. Is it the citizen? No, it is not citizen. Okay, a citizen can be resident or may not be the resident. The resident is the one whose economic activity lies within that country. It is based on criteria like greater than 1 year if you are residing in that nation, or your legal entity, your company is being registered in that particular country. So all those activities falls under the status of the residency. Okay. Now what is this NDP and NNP? NDP मतलब जो भी आपने मशीनरी प्रोड्यूस किया है, कुछ भी आपने प्रोड्यूस किया है, देयर इज उसका वेयर एंड टेयर होगा. जैसे कि समझो एक लैपटॉप आपने प्रोड्यूस किया है, एक साल में उसका मतलब उसका इफेक्ट, उसकी एफिशिएंसी, उसका प्रोडक्ट की लाइफ टाइम है एक 1 ईयर की कम हुई है, सो दैट इज कंसिडर्ड एज अ डेप्रिसिएशन. बट इट विल बी वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू कैलकुलेट द डेप्रिसिएशन. सो वी विल असाइन सम जनरलाइज्ड वैल्यू कैलकुलेट करके इसको जीडीपी में से हम हटाएंगे. सो दैट बिकम्स अ फ्रॉम ग्रॉस टू द नेट. ग्रॉस डोमेस्टिक प्रोडक्ट से नेट डोमेस्टिक प्रोडक्ट बनेगा by considering GDP minus depreciation. Okay, that becomes the NDP. Okay, so these are the same things happens for the NNP. जो भी नेशनल प्रोडक्ट है उस नेशनल प्रोडक्ट में से आप डेप्रिसिएशन को हटा दोगे तो इट विल गेट द NNP. So these are the various 4 ways, 4 forms to understand the concept of the national income. तो इंडिया में कौन सा यूज करते हैं? We use the GDP. Our GNP is less than the GDP. दो बहुत सारे इंडियंस है, ओके, वी आर वर्किंग, मतलब दूसरे कंट्रीज में वर्क करते हैं, एंड वी आर आल्सो गेटिंग ह्यूज रिटर्न्स from there. Okay, but still ऐसा भी है कि बहुत सारे कंपनीज इंडिया में इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं एंड दे आर टेकिंग बैक द प्रॉफिट्स एंड रिटर्न्स. जो कंपनीज के रिटर्न्स है, प्रॉफिट्स, या फिर ये जो हमारे एनआरआईस है वहां पर वर्क कर रहे हैं लेस देन 1 ईयर, इनके वेजेस अगर आप कंपेयर करोगे तो ये बहुत ज्यादा है. सो दैट इज द रीजन, अगर तुम जीएनपी ऑफ इंडिया कैलकुलेट करोगे तो जीडीपी से बहुत कम है. सो जनरली वी विल कैलकुलेट द जीडीपी. और बहुत सारे कॉन्सेप्ट्स हैं इन दिस, विल ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड वन आफ्टर अनदर.